Today, taxes, particularly income taxes and payroll taxes. Yes, they are different. So we're going to talk about that today. Looks like President Trump came out with an idea to cut taxes, eliminate taxes because of all the money coming into tariffs. But we all know who pays that in terms of tariffs. It doesn't not paid by that country. It's paid by the importers and it's passed on to us. But we'll talk about that. And we'll also talk about the idea that has been floated around to end taxes on Social Security benefits. So if you're receiving Social Security benefits, you may or may not pay taxes, either up to 50% or up to 85% on those Social Security benefits. So that's a policy that was actually started under Reagan in the early 1980s to kind of shore up Social Security, to get some more income coming into Social Security so there won't be cuts in the future. Unfortunately, it helped, but definitely added some time onto the Social Security Trust Fund. But there's still a lot that needs to be done, and politicians don't seem to be doing it. So let's go into this. Oh, this is also a live Q&A as well. Looks like I've already got tons of questions. So make sure you type your question down there. And once we're done, if you've got any, if you're watching this in a recording, tell me what you think in the description. If you agree that Social Security benefits should not be taxed. Basically, if you agree with me, I don't believe Social Security benefits should be taxed. That was a bad policy in the 1980s. It's a bad policy now, but it's actually going to hurt the people, I guess it's intended to help. Both of these policies, ending income taxes and ending taxes on Social Security benefits, will unfortunately hurt the people that could least afford it. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Okay, so this is President Trump's Truth Social. He says, when tariffs cut in, so we're not exactly sure what we're talking about here in terms of tariffs cut in, because they were started and suspended and started and suspended. So not exactly sure timeline. You've probably all seen in the news that all of the container ships coming from China have pretty much stopped. So probably the estimates, the experts that know about this stuff said, the shelves at Walmart, probably in the next 2 weeks, you're going to see those emptying out, and the prices are going to be going up for everything. So this is, I guess, instead of income taxes, if he said he's going to go ahead and income taxes, 30% of people don't even pay income taxes, but they are going to pay higher prices. So I guess the income tax for the low income people will just switch into, for all intents and purposes, a Walmart tax, because you're going to be paying more at Walmart for everything coming in. So he says he's going to focus on people making less than $200,000 a year. So it's definitely going to help people at the higher income levels, anywhere from $70,000 to up to $200,000, because they do pay taxes on income. So it's definitely going to help them. But the low income workers, the people out there struggling, just live on Social Security, definitely not going to help at all. So this has been a big issue. It's picked up by all the major newspapers. So we don't know. It's just a proposal out there. It's just a Truth Social post. There is no bill there. If we all remember going back to the 1970s old Schoolhouse Rock, it's only a bill, and until it passes. And this is not even a bill. This is just a Truth Social post. So it hasn't even gotten to the bill status yet. But there is things to kind of, let's switch gears. So that's income tax. So taxes on income, and millions of people on Social Security benefits don't, they're retired. They don't have income. So it's not going to affect them. It's one way or the other. They're not going to benefit from it. What the millions of people on Social Security benefits, what they would like, particularly, all of people on Social Security benefits don't want to pay taxes on their Social Security benefits. And about half of people don't pay taxes on Social Security. So I've got an article here by a senior fellow of the Center for Budget and Policy Priorities. It says about half of Social Security beneficiaries pay no tax on their benefits. So when you cut taxes on Social Security, you're not really helping half of the people. So I get people through the live Q&A, and they said, hey, I really like to, not have to pay taxes on my Social Security. And I, said, okay, how much are you making? Oh, I'm making about this much. You're actually not paying taxes on your Social Security. This is actually going to hurt you because a substantial amount of money comes in every year from those taxes on Social Security. Let me pop this up again here. So this is 2023 numbers. We don't have 2024 numbers, but how Social Security is funded is through FICA taxes, people working today and paying FICA taxes, and from interest, because the money, the trust fund, the 2.6 trillion in trust and the savings, it's put into treasury bonds, and we get interest on that. So in 2023, there's about $63 billion of interest that came in, and good thing. So we're talking about 1.1 trillion income, and about 50 billion of that comes from taxes being paid on that Social Security. So if you eliminate taxes on Social Security, that's $50 billion less coming in. And what happens is that you get less coming in, this much coming out. What's covering the gap? Covering the gap is the trust fund. And the trust fund is going to run out in about 2034, 2033, and everybody's going to get a cut of about 21, 22%. And if you eliminate taxes, then that happens sooner. So probably 2031 or so, and there's going to be more cuts. So the people that really don't want to pay taxes on Social Security benefits, because they can't, they really need that money, they probably don't even pay taxes on those benefits right now anyway. And it's going to hurt them in a few years because the trust fund is going to run out and they're going to get a cut. So it's kind of, they're kind of barking up, I guess, the wrong tree. In terms of ending taxes on Social Security, again, the whole thing about, it's not even, in this case, it actually is a bill. There is a Thomas Massey from Kentucky, Senior Citizens Tax Elimination Act. So this is a proposal to end taxes on Social Security benefits. So there's been many bills like this been passed by Congress over the last several years, and it's usually just a particular politician in a particular area that's running for re-election, and they go ahead and they make this proposal, and then they go back to their district and they say, look, I'm trying to cut your taxes on your Social Security benefits. Aren't I great? Make sure you vote for me. And then you vote for them, and guess what? Nothing ever happens. So this was actually referred to the subcommittee on Social Security back in December of last year. So this is almost May here, and that's the very last action that has happened on this. So as our favorite person, Shakespeare, would say, maybe it's much ado about nothing. But I will keep an eye on that and make sure if anything does happen. Again, I would recommend, a lot of my viewers here say that no taxes on Social Security is a good thing, but that gap has to be filled somehow. So those people that are, that are just struggling won't get those cuts in the future. So in taxes on Social Security, perfect. But where are we going to find that $50 billion? So the most vulnerable of us don't get, don't get hurt. All right, let's get into your question. As usual, this is sponsored by Chapter Medicare. So if you need help with all things Medicare, make sure you reach out to them. And let's see here. It's true, you never know the end results of what is really going on with the unstable administration of this nature and why, with no real explanations, most of it. Yeah, that's the par for the course for politicians. We have to follow up on them. A lot of politicians on both sides, they pass these bills and they make these proposals, and it's usually just around, election season. And then they go back to the districts and say, look what I'm doing for you. And then, and then nothing. No property taxes for seniors. I agree. LA woman, rich get richer and poor get poorer. Yeah. I was married for 17 years. I was divorced and remarried twice. I am divorced now. Ex-spouse passed away. Can I collect survivor benefits? Yeah, in terms of marriage, you were married to the person for at least 10 years. It was a divorce type situation. You had to be married for the person 10 years. So you're good there. You're no longer married now. Even if you get remarried after 60, you can still continue Social Security survivor benefits. But yeah, you could very well. Grammy Woodstar, it really depends. You have to be at least 60 years old, 60 years old to collect survivor benefits. And so you were married to 10 years. If you've already started collecting your Social Security benefits, then you have to check out how much those survivor benefits are, and if they're higher, then you switch to those. But if you started your retirement benefits within the last 12 months, maybe you could withdraw that application and switch over to survivor benefits. If you haven't started benefits on your own record yet, then you can go ahead and file for the survivor benefits and don't touch yours. Let yours continue to increase. So yeah, I would reach out to Social Security number one and find out how much the benefits are on that person's record. If you don't know the Social Security number, no problem. Just give them the person's name, the date of birth as well as you know it, where they were born, and the Social Security employee will be able to find the Social Security number and tell you whether those benefits are higher and whether you can get some benefits from there. And don't wait. This is the end of the month. Don't wait. I just did a video on this yesterday, people losing money. Don't wait for it. Well, I'll call in a couple of days and then it'll be May and you're going to lose a month of benefits. I'll call when I get the divorce decree. I'll call when I get the marriage certificate. No, 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 no. Don't wait. Call now. It's like what was that? Ronco, Pocket Buddy, the Pocket Fisherman or something. Call now, 1999, except in Nebraska, you'll be billed later, right? But no, don't call me. Call Social Security, 1-800-772-1213. Grammy, why are you still watching? Go call Social Security now because you're going to be on the phone for 3 hours if you're able to get through. But that's the trick. If you're not able to get through, and you don't get through until May 1st, which is another month, to make sure you don't lose benefits, the April benefit check, if you're entitled to it for this month, tell them when you do call, says, hey, I tried to call y'all in April. I've got the little screenshot of my phone. I can show you my phone bill. I was on the phone for 3 hours with you guys, yesterday, and yesterday was April and today is May. So I want my April check too. It's not my fault. Politicians are not giving y'all resources to pick up the phone. So there's that. Are you still here? Bev, I agree. This year we could an apple for the senior property tax freeze, but they've mad the value. Okay. Yeah. That's what's interesting. The rich and connected, they don't want to pay taxes on, because they don't, quite often when you're really, really rich, you don't really pay taxes because you don't have income. You just have a bunch of assets and you take those assets to the bank and you get a bank loan and you pay back, 1 or 2% interest, and you don't pay, income tax on a bank loan. So they essentially, pay no income taxes. And then one of the proposals is to save Social Security is, well, if you're doing something like that, we're going to put Social Security taxes on your capital gains, or a lot of countries tax assets like that. And they say, why? It's not, it's unrealized assets. Why are you going to tax unrealized assets? Well, y'all pay money on taxes on unrealized assets every single day. It's called real estate taxes. So anyway, this is how we will cause Social Security to go bankrupted. Taxes feed it. This will be the end of the program. If we want to help support the program, he should have taxed upper class income. Yeah, that's the FICA, ending the FICA cap. For those new, make sure you subscribe, share, like, and all that kind of good stuff. But if you make over $176,100 this year, you are exempt from Social Security FICA taxes. You don't pay Social Security taxes anymore. So us schmoes, we pay Social Security FICA tax when we work on every dollar we make. But yeah. Let's see here. Pink Owl, that is a good question about, someone in Pink Owl, I think I missed Pink Owl there. About where the tax money goes. I'm in no way wealthy, widowed 8 years ago, and collect survivor benefits, except not. Okay, let's see. Let me get an actual question. Lynn, I successfully applied for spousal benefits on my husband's record today with a simple phone call appointment I made on March 10th, and my benefit will be retro 6 months. Perfect. Okay, so you retro 6 months. That means either you called 6 months ago and you have that protective filing, or you're past your full retirement age. When you're past your full retirement age, you can get automatic retroactive benefits up to 6 months. A lot of people miss that and miss a lot of checks. But it looks like Lynn did the right thing across the board, got her benefits, got 6 months retro. And yeah, and Social Security was there to help her out. Awesome. Good deal. Lynn, let us know what office that was. We always like to get a shout out for, Social Security offices are doing the right thing, even in the face of all the craziness out there. Jeets, Dr. Ed, I'm disabled in my 50s on SSI. I'm told I need to look into a special needs trust for anything my mother may leave me when she passes. Do you recommend a specific person to talk with? Yeah, I would probably just talk to a lawyer in your state who's ever, you can call the kind of the American Bar Association in your particular state and find someone. You might be able to get one that does it kind of a pro bono type thing. Or, yeah, because what it is because you're on SSI, that's low income, low resources, and if you get some type of money like that, uh, it might affect your SSI, and you might be kicked off SSI. But there are certain things you can do to kind of protect that. But yeah, I would definitely talk to a lawyer. Contact the ABA for someone that's good in your area. Contact usually a lot of the universities have like a legal clinic. So if your university, local one or nearby, has a law school, they usually have wannabe lawyers there that help legal clinic, and they're monitored by their professors and stuff like that, and they provide kind of free help. So those are two good places to start. Free good places to start. Whether it's eventually going to cost you money, that's a whole different thing, but at least you get a free start. In calculating overpayment of retirement benefits, does Social Security use my gross wages or Social Security wages? I hope Social Security uses my Social Security wages, as Social Security wages deduct from gross wage my health, vision. No. In terms of retire, so you're talking about early retirement. You retired early, and you made over the $23,400, and they count gross wages. How much you actually made, what you made, where you sent that money after to health insurance, to alimony, to child support, to taxes, to 401k. That's unfortunately, sorry, they counted gross wages. So, all right, got that. I'm still confused with the new Social Security rule. You no longer file taxes on your Social Security. In my state, you don't file either. But what if you withdraw from like an IRA? Do you only pay taxes on the IRA? Yeah, that's out of my wheelhouse. I never worked for the IRS. So, but in terms of paying taxes, I don't think I've got a calculator. If you look at my YouTube description, I've got a calculator down there that it's a IRS calculator. It takes you to the IRS website, and you answer some questions, and it tells you whether you pay taxes on Social Security. I don't think I'm. But the IRS has different calculators like that. But yeah, the IRA, that's a whole different ball of wax. I would contact your accountant on that one. So, okay, all right. Well. Thank you for all you do. Been watching for about 3 months for myself, SSDI since 2003, and for others, SEEP. All right, great. Thank you, David. And with all the information, the key with this community is, you watch it for yourself and make sure you're all good. Make sure you're getting the right check at the right time and the right benefits and yada, yada, yada. But if you continue watching, then you continue watching for other people, right? And it's like, oh, I've got this little lady down the street and she's receiving survivor benefits. Does she know she might be able to need to switch over to her own benefits and all that kind of good stuff? So let's go out there and help people. If they eliminate the tax, you will still be paying taxes on goods and services, which will bring things up to about 30% more on clothes, food, electronics, anything you consume, cars. Yeah, it was, I guess we had a little national education on the lack of education recently. Um, uh, Used to call it government class or civics class, and you used to have an economics class and stuff like that in high school. And tariffs were, discussed, but I guess they don't talk about tariffs and how tariffs, the end consumer. It's not the country that pays the tariffs. You can put a tariff on country X, Y, or Z, but that country doesn't care, because who pays for it? When the importer brings it in, the importer pays for it. In this case, the American company, and they just pass the price, the cost over to the consumers. So yeah, the consumers essentially pay for it. So I'm writing for a friend. There we go. That's what we like. David, our hero for the day. All right. My 64-year-old caregiver, she began receiving SSA when she turned 62 on her own record. She was, or maybe still is, married for 15 years, 1978 to 19. Yeah, if she was, or maybe still is. Oh, okay, so maybe they were, estranged or whatever the case may be. No problem. Social Security, if you didn't get an official divorce, they still considered you kind of married. So she has been receiving benefits on her own record. If she is married, still technically married, then her husband has to be receiving benefits, has to start receiving benefits, retirement or disability benefits. If she is not married, then that whole independently entitled divorce spouse thing kicks in, where she had to be married to the person for 10 years. So it's good. And she has to be divorced for 2 years. And even if the ex hasn't filed for benefits yet, as long as the ex is at least 62 years old, she can file for benefits on his record. So, so I would have her call up if it sounds like she might not be in touch with him. So I would have her call up Social Security, give Social Security the person's, Social Security number or name and date of birth and all that kind of stuff. They'll look at the record and they'll see if there's any more money there, because her benefit amount has to be less than his. And if it is, then they'll look at the ages and determine whether it's just a regular spouse claim or independently entitled divorce spouse claim and stuff, and get it all set up. But watch out on the independently entitled divorce spouse benefits. Sometimes, usually not on the 800 number. They usually know about that, sometimes they'll tell you, oh, you can't file for divorce spouse benefits because your ex hasn't filed yet. No, no relevance whatsoever. As long as you've been divorced for 2 years and you were married to the person for 10 years. I have put the link to that in my YouTube descriptions. It's under IEDS, Independently Entitled Divorce Spouse Benefits. So if Social Security employee tells you, no, your ex has to be filing, has to be receiving benefits, you just give them that reference, and they'll get taken care of. Became a member, Bands 916 became a member. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. My son and I, it's a 2-man operation, and we really do appreciate it. Oh, okay. This is a follow-up here. She has a copy of her marriage certificate. Her husband served in the U.S. Army 40 years, a U.S.-born citizen, now works as a civilian employee at a recruitment center for about 8 years. Okay. Tricking young, impressionable guys into joining the military. Like they did me at 17 years. I walked into the office. I don't know why I walked into the Marine Corps office, but anyway, I'm a glutton for punishment. Oh my God. One thing I'm happy about. I've been married once for 40 years and happy. All right. Good deal, Vicky. Congratulations. 40 years. Yep, most don't pay taxes now. Yeah, and you're right. In terms of Social Security taxes, about half of people don't pay taxes on their Social Security benefits. About 30% people don't pay income taxes. That includes, low income and, the really rich that got really good tax lawyers. But people always say, well, the poor people don't pay taxes. They do. They just don't pay income taxes or payroll taxes, but they pay fuel taxes, and they pay, real estate taxes, and they pay, sales taxes and stuff. So if you add all that up, it's probably more than someone that makes $1 billion pays in terms of percentage. So Brian, disabled adult child benefit. Both parents, police officers, retired in 1991 with eyes subject to GPO and WEP. Possibly. Well, it'll be a WEP. So basically, if your parent, you're receiving benefits as a disabled adult child off of one or both of your parents, usually it's the higher benefit amount, but anyway, and they were WEP'd, that means their benefit amount was recalculated because of their non-covered pension, then based on the Social Security Fairness Act, their benefits will be recalculated. And that could very well increase their benefits. And if that increases their PIA, their primary insurance amount, yes, that will increase your benefit amount as well. Because if you're receiving it as just a regular, disabled adult child, you're getting 50%. If you're receiving it as a surviving disabled adult child, you're getting 75%. So it's 50% or 75% of their benefit amount. So long story short, if their benefit amount increases because of the Social Security Fairness Act, then yes. So I would definitely, have them reach out, or you reach out and say, hey, is my benefit amount going to be increased? Because this is one of the ones that might fall through the cracks. So I would reach out to Social Security and say, hey, I'm receiving benefits as a DAC on this record. Is this person benefit amount WEP'd? And if they say, yes, it is WEP'd, and then your question should be, okay, when are you going to unWEP it? So there you go. I have always been taxed on Social Security since 2019. So yeah, so you're one of people often confuse this. If you're receiving income, you pay FICA taxes. Everybody pays, FICA taxes on income or net income for business, unless you're, making over 100, then you're exempt. But you still pay it on the 176,000. But from your Social Security benefits, do you pay? So you must, I think it's over 25,000 if you're single, over 32,000 if you're married. Don't quote me on those numbers, but that's about the area that you're taxed on your Social Security benefits. So, Dr. Weir, I'm letting you know that my judge died a few months ago after hearing at the Social Security court back in 2018, but another judge signed off my disability. Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, I think you came in here before and you mentioned that you had you had your day in court for your disability case. Your administrative law judge saw it, and then was in the process of doing something, approving it or whatever, and then they unfortunately passed away, and then someone else assumed his workload, and it looks like they approved it. They, yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Not unfortunately for the judge, but yeah, for you. I received Social Security disability and I am 61 years old. Will the no taxes apply to me? It really depends on how much you're making. If you're just receiving disability benefits, no, probably not. Probably not going to benefit you. The no taxes on Social Security and probably the other income taxes as well, because you just may pay more at the store. All right, Stephen, I had an example of a Social Security agent not giving good information. I was told that my stepchild is not eligible for benefits until my adoption is finalized. Yep, that is incorrect. I knew she was wrong, but I didn't challenge her yet. 1/2 support. Yep, so 1/2 support. Say, hey, no, yeah, the adoption hasn't finalized yet. The whole adoption process takes time, yada, 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 but I do provide my stepchild 1/2 support, and they'll do their calculations and determine yada, yada, yada. And yeah, it's an easy one. So if they gave you that information, I would challenge it. Yes, please go back there and say, hey, you told me a month or 2 months or 3 months ago, whatever, that my stepchild can't get until they get actually, fully adopted. And you were wrong, because there is this thing called half support, and I am providing that child half support. So I want my benefits back to when I first contacted y'all 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago. Yeah. So just call and say, I want to file OX child half support. And easy. Done not millions, but a lot of those. Patricia, collecting survivor benefits. If I remarry, will I lose my benefit? How would I file? Survivor benefits, you can remarry after the age of 60. So if you remarry before the age of 60, those benefits will stop. But after 60, you're good. Let's see here. Nelson, Martin O'Malley said the Doge will be responsible for Social Security interruption. He also called out the lies that there are illegals and did people getting Social Security. Yeah, those are two allegations that have been pretty much debunked by everybody. Even the current the acting commissioner of Social Security said, yeah, I've talked about it way, way too many times. There's not, people that are over 120 years old receiving Social Security benefits, like, the 20 million people. That was just a distraction, and it distracted, the nation for a while. And so they could pick our pockets on the other side. So, but people are still falling for it. So those internet myths, sometimes you just can't get, Elvis is still out there. He's still alive. I used to see him all the time at 2:00 in the morning in Las Vegas. Pretty simple. They don't make enough to pay taxes on Social Security. Correct. Yep. Smash the cap. Yes. Smash the cap. Have everybody pay into Social Security like the rest of us. Yes, absolutely. They should build in safeguards against Social Security payments being garnished for student loans for low-income people. Yeah, the new Treasury offset that the pause on student loans is ending. So if you have a student loan and you're receiving Social Security benefits, then 15% of your Social Security benefit could be garnished to pay back that student loan. So, yeah. What is the best bank to have Social Security check deposit into? Yeah, whatever one is solvent. Yeah, so I've been using Navy Federal Credit Union since I was like 1983 or something. So, hello, but yeah, that's anyway. Hello, on my Social Security checks, they still take out $185. Yep. So that's Part B of Medicare. So you are paying for Part B of Medicare. If you can't afford that, if that $185 is putting you in a hurt locker, then contact Medicaid in your office, in your state. They call those offices different names, Medi-Cal, Badger Care, Apple Care, and stuff. But call Medicaid in your particular state and ask them, apply for Medicaid and ask them to pay for your Medicare Part B. And millions of people get their Part B paid for. And then you're eligible for one of those Medicare Advantage dual eligible plans. You might get some more money there. Those grocery cards that you see kind of advertise, kind of scammy advertising, but they do actually exist. So you can reach out to Chapter and they can, kind of walk you through that process. Or if you're not eligible for Medicaid, there's called Medicare Advantage Part B Give Back that might pay for part of your Part B, $50, $100, $185. It really depends on what's available in your particular area. So you can reach out to Chapter and they can help you 100% free. Ed, you do a great job with information on when it comes to concerns about Social Security. Thank you for that. Oh, you're welcome. My question is, when can I apply for ex-spouse benefits? I have been getting on my own record for almost a year. So when can you get ex-spouse benefits? So if you're currently not married, you're already receiving benefits on your own record, so at yearly 62. So you're good there. You were married for at least 10 years. Is your ex at least 62 years old? Doesn't matter whether they're receiving benefits, they just have to be at least 62 years old. So if all of those check off the box, then you can run to the phone right now and schedule an appointment or go online and get your benefits started. And remember that your benefit amount has to be less than half of that your ex's benefit amount. So let's see. Pink Owl, please hit the like button. Yes, please, please, please. Don't remove the taxes, remove the Social Security tax cap. I think I would agree. Yep. Let's see. I have gotten a rebate from the state of New Jersey for property taxes. I am expecting a rebate for 2023 and 2024. Okay, beautiful. Yeah. I did a video so for the people out there, if you or someone you know is struggling, I did a video and I put it in my YouTube description. it'll say living on Social Security alone, and it's a link to one of the videos I did that goes over about 50 different programs that might make your life easier. So definitely check that out. I read about the current bill proposed by Representative Massey. He wants the lost tax replaced from the General Revenue Fund. We'll see about that. Yeah, the General Revenue Fund is already, what, 37 trillion in debt? Yeah, so, yeah, I don't think there's much. There ain't no blood in that turnip, is there? My brother qualified for Social Security on compassion allowance for grade 4 GMB. You think he'll be dropped? Oh, so in terms of like a CDR, continuing disability review, it really depends on, whether he's improved, medications, got some type of surgery, whatever the case may be. But as of right now, Doge and Elon Musk has been looking for fraud, waste, and abuse. They haven't found one dime of fraud in Social Security. But Social Security employees find it every day. So because he's just not looking for those individual cases. And that's what a CDR does. One of the things people are receiving disability benefits that can actually work. So if your brother gets a CDR, a continuing disability review, then he just fills it out. But here's what I tell you. Here's Laura. Here's what you tell your brother. And number one, thank you for looking out for your brother. Tell your brother, live his life and do what he's got to do. Enjoy his life. Don't worry about Social Security. Don't worry about continuing disability reviews. Don't worry about the current administration, what they're proposing to do, thinking about doing, tweeting about doing. Nothing happens until it actually happens. You don't have to worry about a CDR, a continuing disability review, until you actually receive the packet in the mail. And I've talked about this many a times. CDRs are a separate allocation from Congress. So Congress, gives Social Security a budget every year for, to pay the rent and the electricity and, get staff to help you out, which, doesn't exist anymore. But anyway, and they also set up two different allocations. One of them is for CDRs, continuing disability reviews, and the other one is for SSI, RZs, and limited issues and stuff, people on supplemental security income. But in your brother's case, the continuing disability review. So if he says something like, well, according to when I was first approved, they were going to review my case every year, every 3 years, every 5 years, or 7 years, or whatever the case may be. And my review is coming up here next month or 3 months or something like that. I'm really stressing it out. Tell him, don't worry about it. When you get the package in the mail, then fill it out and return it. But until that happens, don't sweat it. I'm sure he's got other issues to deal with, his disabilities and medications, doctor's appointments, financial, everything. Don't worry about the CDR, because even if he is scheduled for one of those CDRs next month, remember I said about the allocation of Congress? If your local office, if his local office doesn't have the budget to send him that package and process and develop that CDR, they won't do it, even if it's his time. So that is completely beyond him. That is nothing that has to do with him. That's just allocation and funding and, politics stuff. So even if he's scheduled for a CDR next month or 6 months from now, he might not even get it. And even if he gets it, fill it out, complete it, return it, make copies, return it. Even if he does it, they might not have an allocation on the back end. They might have, they said, okay, you've got X amount of, you can fill out, you can do 100 CDRs this quarter, his particular office. And then his is a number 101. So they've already filled their quota of how many they can actually do. They can't do his because they don't have the budget to do an extra one. So even if he returns it, so my philosophy is always FCF. Forget about it, complete it when you get it, and then forget about it again. So because it's a complete crapshoot, it's a budget issue. So it has nothing to do with him. So that's why I tell him to just don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. Just, keep on keeping on. And thank you, Laura. There's our second hero for the day, looking after someone. You were too awesome. So In 2024, Tesla reported 2.3 billion in US income, yet paid zero federal income tax. Yeah, and over the past 3 years, the company earned $10 billion domestically and paid only 48 million in federal tax. Yeah. And did you see the rest of that story? This Paul Harvey used to say how much they actually paid in taxes in China. Yeah, they pay quite a bit of taxes in China because China is like doesn't. Yeah, you make money, you got to pay taxes. So, um, Trump had to leave Italy after sleeping at the Pope's. Oh, okay. Can I claim widow's benefits on my husband who passed in 2003? I was married for 20 years after that marriage. With that marriage ending this past December, I am 60 and on SSI. I want Medicare in the future. If you're on Medicare, or excuse me, if you're on SSI, supplemental security income, you have to file for those benefits. I'm surprised they haven't reached out to you yet. Maybe you just turned 60, but no biggie. Yes, you have to, because SSI is supplemental security income. And anytime you're on SSI money comes out of the general taxation. It doesn't come out of the trust fund. So in order to, take care of the general taxation, Social Security says, hey, if you're on SSI and you're eligible for any other benefits, you have to file for those benefits. So I would reach out to Social Security and say, hey, I might be entitled to survivor benefits. And what will happen on that one is if you're getting like $900 on SSI and the survivor benefits are $700, what will happen is you'll get the $700 plus you'll get an extra $200 from SSI for a total of $900. So you'll continue to get SSI and you'll get survivor benefits, unless the survivor benefits are $1,500, and then your SSI is going to stop. But because you're going to be getting survivor benefits, hopefully, your Medicare will start. It'll start it'll start at 65, because you're maybe. I would definitely check out disabled widow benefits. If you're receiving SSI, that means you're disabled, probably, or you're past 65 years old. Oh, you said you're 60. Okay, so you're receiving it. So you're disabled. Your husband passed in 2003. I would also ask them about what's called disabled widows benefits. And if that's the case, your Medicare might start earlier, but you're already receiving Medicaid, hopefully, as well. So, so those are the two things. I would file for just, ask, call them up about regular survivor benefits, and also ask about disabled widows benefits, disabled survivor benefits. Make sure they address both of those programs. So, have you seen the SSA overturn an ALJ approval of SSDI? Yes. I mean, in terms of, if you have an ALJ and you appeal it, you can go to the appeals council, send it to the appeals council in Falls Church, Virginia, and they could remand it back and could be overturned. If the judge approves it and then it goes back to the local office for adjudication for processing, and the claim specialist at the local office sees something, work that wasn't reported or something like that, yes, they could. They won't overturn the medical decision because, local Social Security employees are not doctors, medical doctors. But they can do a technical denial based on working and stuff like that. But if that doesn't apply to you, then that doesn't apply to you. So I've had that happen where ALJ, administrative law judge, approves it, and then it comes back to my office, after a month or 2 months, and then it turns out the person was working the entire time. And so we just contacted the judge and said, we didn't have the authority. We just returned it to the judge and said, hey, we've got new information that this person has been working for months and months and months and months. So how do I find out if I'm receiving my husband's complete benefits? Because I have been placed on retirement and I feel that I'm receiving less than I should be receiving on my husband's benefits. It's whatever your husband is, if your husband's benefit amount is correct, if he checked his benefit, his work record to make sure all of his earnings throughout his life has been correctly, recorded by Social Security, and his primary insurance amount is correct, then your benefits are correct. Um, your benefits are reduced if you started those benefits, those spouse benefits early. But yeah, there's no way that Social Security can mess that part up if they get the correct month from the beginning. So if you filed in April and your benefits are supposed to start in April of 2023 or 2022 or whatever the case may be, then the computer system automatically calculates the reduced months. So yeah, there's no way to mess that up. There's a way to mess up in terms of when you're actually supposed to started, and so that's kind of what I talked about today earlier. Let's see. Paula, of course, there won't be taxes on Social Security because Donald is planning to get rid of it. I owe you. You can't tax something that does not exist. Yeah, there is kind of a behind the scenes attempt to, the biggest Ponzi scheme in history, the biggest fraud in history. And yeah, so that's when you've got that kind of mentality, you're not really going in there to save it, are you? Was approved for SSDI in October. How will I know when I start Medicare? I am 58. You will start Medicare after being on disability benefits for 2 years. So if when you say you were approved, that means you were approved that month, but did they give you retroactive benefits? So I've had people that I got approved in October and they gave me 2 years of back pay. Guess what? Your Medicare started in October, right? So if you don't know exactly when your benefits started, you can contact Social Security and say, hey, when is the 24th month that my Medicare will start? And they'll tell you, and that way you can, plan for it a little bit. But I would also reach out to your politicians. And I think, and a lot of the viewers here think that if you're receiving disability, I mean, it's stupid that you have to wait 2 years to have your Medicare start because you're disabled, which involves doctors and prescriptions and stuff like that. I never understood why they did it 2 years. Well, I understood why they did it, but it's a budget issue. But contact your politicians and say this 2-year wait for Medicare is dumb. So, received windfall tax back pay. Taxes owed. Also, Social Security letter states my Medicare card will arrive soon. I retired in 2033. Former federal government Medicare payments began in 2015. Yeah, okay. Coming out of Social Security now. So yeah, I get on the videos I did about the Social Security Fairness Act and back pay, and people say, I didn't get any money. You're lying, Eddie. Yeah, Evelyn is proof that people will get money. Just unfortunately, it's not the other 97%. So taxes, again, I don't do taxes. So sounds like Medicare. Yeah, you're going to get Medicare. But each case is a little bit different. But even the people that, worked under non-covered entities like you did, I guess, Texas or wherever, you did pay into Medicare. You didn't pay Social Security part of FICA, but you did pay the Medicare part of FICA. It's called MQGE, Medicare Qualified Government Employee. And there's a lot of people that miss that, unfortunately. Les, thank you for helping with people who are a republic, not a democracy. God bless you and your family. You're welcome. We still vote. Representative democracy. That's it. Cryptocurrency, yes. SSI here. My next back pay allotment is due on June 2nd. Do you suppose I will receive it on time with all that's happening with Social Security right now? Yeah, it's Elon Musk and Doge. They can't reduce your Social Security benefits. They can't increase your Social Security benefits, even though he said he's going to. He can't. Congress is the only people that can do that. If they decide to increase it or decrease it, then that's. But one thing that the Doge people in there can do is mess up the computer system. And if they mess up the computer system, if they, push the wrong button, then yeah, it's could affect checks for everybody. So, and Social Security has been begging Congress for decades. We need to update the Social Security computer system. We're keeping it together with bubble gum and tape. We need to update it. And Congress for decades has said, no, 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 no. So how long does it take to receive my WEP back pay? I went to Social Security office on April 8th, but have not heard from them. Yeah, I think 60% of people have already received their Social Security back pay from the windfall elimination, from the Social Security Fairness Act. And it says on the website, if you don't receive it by the end of April, then you need to contact. But it sounds like you already contacted them, so that's not an issue. So, and it's Social Security offices just don't have any employees, so they're doing the best they can. How you can expedite that is you call your politician, or you go reach out to your politician and say, hey, what's going on here? How come y'all are not, I paid for this customer service all those decades. I pay my FICA taxes. And when I wanted my Social Security, my retirement, my survivor benefits, my disability benefits, my Medicare, I paid ahead of time for help to get those benefits. And why aren't you providing that help? So, and don't let them give you any BS about, oh, the Social Security Trust Fund was stolen. It was all given to illegals. It was sent to Ukraine and all that other kind of BS. Don't fall for their tricks. Becky BKMG, thanks for all you do. You're welcome. In January, I made an appointment for spousal benefits, filed March 12th. I haven't heard, so I called last Friday. Social Security said they were re-looking into my file since they're... let me see if I can find the other part of it. Okay, so they're just re-looking into your file because of whatever. Maybe the person that took your claim March 12th no longer works for the agency. He was pushed out. He or she was pushed out by Doge, and so now they have to redistribute that workload to somebody else, and maybe that's why. But if you provided all your proofs, whatever you needed, your marriage certificate, divorce decree, death certificate, yada, yada, yada. If you provided all that, then it's easy. I've done millions of survivor spouse claims, and they're, pretty easy once you get all the documentation in there. So under normal circumstances, it would have been done. So again, reach out to your politicians. Not to be rude, but what did you guys complain about when Biden was in office? I'll wait. Go back to my videos, and that Social Security Fairness Act I thought was complete BS. And he said it was going to expand Social Security. No, it's not. It's not going to expand Social Security. It's going to cut Social Security for 97% of people 100% of people out there in the future. So yeah, that's the great thing about this channel. We're not partisan. We're political in the sense of we believe resources should go to Social Security to protect Social Security, protect Medicare, so there are not cuts in the future. And vast majority of people, I would say 99%, don't want their benefits to be cut. So luckily, we're all on the same page, and we avoid all that partisan. We're political, but not partisan. Called Social Security to unblock my account because of identity theft, and the person who assisted me was excellent. Awesome. Good deal. Good deal. All right. Yeah, give that office a shout out, please. I pay taxes on 85% of my Social Security because they also take my husband's income to account as we filed joint. Yep. So, yeah, taxes. How will my divorced widow's spousal benefit be affected by another country's Social Security benefit, though minimal, that I would qualify for as a dual citizenship? Now, won't, because of the Social Security Fairness Act, Unfairness Act, if you ask me. But anyway, those windfall elimination provisions, which also not only applied for Texas teachers and stuff like that, or LA firemen. But it also, with foreign pensions, that also triggered WEP. But now it doesn't. So in the United States, that is. I don't know if you're whatever country you're from, whether they do it. But in terms of Social Security, it doesn't affect. Stocking up on food and toilet paper is what caused so much misery during COVID. Don't fall for this crap. It's a scam. Yeah, that was an interesting time, right? Let's see. They put a $200 tax on tobacco so rich can go smoke their Cuban cigars or play golf. Thanks for, yeah. All right. Are Cuban cigars still illegal? Senator Warren said the employees being fired from Social Security is the MAGA way of giving billionaires their tax cuts. Yeah, it's definitely a way to prevent people from getting benefits. And luckily, people not on this channel, because y'all have the information to make sure you get your benefits, the right check at the right time. And all those people around you, you're making sure get the right benefit at the right time and not losing benefits like a lot of people are because of this nightmare going on right now. But the people that don't have this information, that are not armed to the teeth with the correct information, yeah, there's a lot of people that are going to be missing benefits, and that's perhaps kind of the point. And for those think I'm just making it up, again, in my description, you'll see it. This has been a plan since the 1980s. The playbook is in my description. Look in the playbook, and this is going exactly as planned. Well, not exactly, but pretty much as planned. Well, exactly as planned. They said in their playbook, they said, we need to, take advantage of a crisis or build a crisis. So I guess they just, or if there's already a crisis, we should make the crisis worse. So the crisis was Social Security is at a 50-year low in terms of staffing, and that prevents people from getting their benefits, access to their benefits. So that's the crisis. And we'll make that crisis worse by firing a whole bunch of other people or relocating them or whatever the case may be. So, and in terms of the future cuts, so yes, playbook, just, yeah, they're following the playbook. If seniors residents, in case you don't know, you can apply for property tax freeze. Thank you, Jackie. You need your tax return to file. This has saved me thousands for years. Thank you, Dr. Weir, for sharing. Yes, so reach out to your state, whatever jurisdiction. Oh God, what do they call the? Anytime it comes to taxes, I draw a blank. I used to go in there every year and do my. I didn't do the property tax one. I did because in my state, you could do with veterans. You could get a tax break on your car registration. So I took the tax break. It was basically the same amount, whether you do it on your home or on your car. So I always took the tax break on my car because it was easier. But yes, yeah, reach out, and yeah, every dollar helps. I just turned 65 in March and still don't know what to do with Medicare. My husband turned 65 last October. We both still work. So any advice? If you both still work and you have health insurance from work and you're happy with it and your employer has 20 or more employees, then you don't have to get Medicare. You don't have to call Social Security and file and tell Social Security, I don't want it, unless you're already receiving Social Security benefits. But if you're not receiving Social Security benefits, you don't have to do anything. If you're receiving Social Security benefits, then they'll sign you up for Medicare automatically, which doesn't sound like they did. But yeah, you can reach out to chapter there and find out. In your case, if you have health insurance, you both have health insurance from work, yours or your spouse's current work, not a retirement plan or anything, but current work, 20 or more employees, then you don't need to do anything. But once you stop receiving health insurance from current work, then you have to go ahead and sign up. And I would sign up about 3 months beforehand, and then you need to find a plan at that time. Always, 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 always. When you're got 11,000 people turning 65 every day, so this is a big question for everybody. And when you get signed up for Part A, Part B, if you have to, if you're not working, all that kind of good stuff, you get signed up for Part A, Part B, and then you have to find something to cover all the gaps because there's a lot of gaps in original Medicare. So always, whoever you call chapter, whoever you call, always say, hey, I need to find a plan. Tell me about Medicare supplement plans first. What's the difference between an N and a G? Okay, now what's the difference between a Medicare supplement plan, Medigap, same thing. What's the difference between that and a Medicare Advantage plan? And that way you've got all the information and you can make a good decision. But I always recommend Medicare supplements plan N and G. And donation $4.99. I appreciate it. You are too awesome. Thank you very much. Let's see. Did I got answered your question. Oh, okay. I am a designated representative for my 91-year-old father. What can I do and why? What can I can't do if he needs help with Social Security? Okay, so you're a designated representative. So you are, Social Security calls that a representative payee. So if you are the representative payee for him, number one, thank you. And number two, you can speak for him. So you are his representative payee. He can't take care of his own benefits, so you are the one doing it. So if you need to call Social Security and change his address or direct deposit or want to find out about a missing check or something like that, you're the person that can do it. The only thing is once a year you'll receive a payee report. Sometimes they're stopping those if it's a family member or something, but in your case, they probably is going to continue. It's super easy. Just once a year, they'll send a payee report to you that says, "Hey, last year we sent you, $25,000 for your father. What did you do with it?" And you put roof over his head, food, medical, and just return it, and it's no big deal. So, what your full retirement age? 66 and 8 months. It's your decision when to file. Yes. All right. Yes. Yes. It's all. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I use Navy Federal Credit Union too. Yeah, I've had them since. Yeah, first overseas, 1980, Okinawa, Japan, in 1983. I think I joined there. Yeah, when to file is 100%. Nobody can tell you should file at 62 or 65 or 70 or something like that. Yeah, it really depends on your particular case, whether you need the money and all that stuff. So, yep. All right. Unfortunately, again, I've got tons of questions and we are out of time. I apologize, but I will be back again tomorrow, if not sooner. And I'll pick another topic and then answer a whole bunch of questions. Y'all take care and please, please, please look after